We hope to be able to have a discussion later on before Gino Giugni's speech and have a general discussion, but we'd like to get on with this panel now. This panel is the early republic. And our first speaker is Margherita Repetto Alaia. Margherita is at the Italian Cultural Institute in New York, and at Columbia, where she also teaches. And she was, from 1966 to 1982, a member of the Executive Committee of the Union of Italian Women, or UDI. In that capacity, she researched and contributed to the passing of legislation. Non si sente?
Non si sente.
Okay. Okay, is this better? Is this better? No?
Può darsi che non è agganciato. No, questi funzionano.
How about this? This is okay. 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 You want me to repeat everything? Margherita Repetto Alaia is at the Italian Cultural Institute in New York and also teaches at Columbia University. She served between 1966 and 1982 as a member of the Executive Committee of the Union of Italian Women, or UDI. And in that capacity, she researched and contributed to the passing of legislation concerning women, including the reform of family laws, equality for women in the workplace, and equal opportunity policy. Over the years, she has contributed to Italian journals, newspapers, and magazines. She has contributed numerous articles and essays on the subject of contemporary political movements, on feminist political theory, and on public policy issues concerning women. Margherita?
Okay, here we go. Margherita needs to... Va bene, mi sentite? Sì. Dunque, all right, let's move to the other language. Now, I'm offering, at the beginning of this paper, some considerations about the historical invisibility of women, which I attribute to the prevailing nature of the Italian historiography on political movements, which is mostly institutional, deals with institutional politics, or also with history of ideas, and the gender issue, because of this methodology, has no chance of really surfacing as an important component of the historical perspective. I'm also offering a brief consideration with regards to the loss of visibility that historically occurred in the history of the socialist movement in the passage from the organizzazione diretta to the organizzazione indiretta. And of course, this is up for discussion, given that here we have a number of historians of that movement and of that period, which refers to the last decade of the 19th century. Now, the period considered in this paper is the second post-war. And from the point of view of women's political participation in Italy, it opened up with a decisive novelty. Women, of course also socialist women, actively campaigned for the vote since the early fall of 1944. The decree recognizing the right to vote was issued on January 31st, 1945, when the liberation of the country was far from being complete. It is natural to ask at this point what this institutional novelty, which indeed is a historical divide, what difference did it make? Did it make women politically visible? Now, Paola Gagliotti, who perhaps more than any other women historian has focused on this issue of the vote, speaks of the social and cultural climate which surrounded the January 1945 decree as characterized by what she calls the sense of necessity, a sort of democratic obviousness. And she also points out to the passive nature of the process of feminization of society, which had started already during the fascist years, and concludes that the combination of a growing feminization of society and its apparently painless, unthinking nature conspired to give the impression of a nation of tranquil, reconciled women untroubled by any rash or uncurbable wants or needs. The Socialist Party, and by which now I mean the socialist male leadership and rank and file militants alike, indeed shared this kind of general agnosticism. There are, however, some additional factors to consider. First, the January 1945 decree was approved by a government which did not include the Socialist Party and the Action Party. That indeed, besides being an undeserved retribution to the efforts which socialist women had made, along with others on behalf of the vote, put the socialists at a disadvantage with respect to any strategy intended to gain female consensus. On the other hand, such a strategy was never clearly defined in the socialist camp by any socialist leader. Again, Paola Gagliotti identifies three strategies, Togliatti, Pius XII, and the Gasparis, while pointing out a prevailingly class-oriented proposal on the part of the Socialist Party at the time, the PSIUP Executive Committee in May 1944, in which there was no room for any gender-based political category. Eventually, this strategy became identifiable with Rodolfo Morandi's leadership and his idea of democratic centralism in the party, which gave him, of course, a grip on the organizational structure of the party, also with respect to mass organizations, as we will briefly see. Personally, I believe that one should credit Pietro Nenni with a rather strong personal conviction of the relevance of women's contribution. As secretary of the party, speaking at the Congress of the Union of Italian Women in 1947, he used strong words against what he called i mezzi dottori delle nostre sezioni, dei quali Giacomo Matteotti parlava con tanto disprezzo, recalling how they had resented the burden that the organizing of the Union of Italian Women at the grassroots put upon their time and efforts. Nenni insisted upon the high political value of women's mobilization. I believe that he had developed his attitude of respect for women's political capacity from his experience as an exile, which in this regard put him very close to many other men of his generation. The stress on the part of Nenni and even Morandi fell on the emancipatory value per se of women's participation on an equal footing with men. What is lacking is the perception of the political value of women's specific needs. In the sense, I would say, that a leader like Morandi would deny such value. And Nenni did not really make that point clearly until perhaps much later. Before closing on this point, one needs to recall also another powerful factor, the long-lived diffidence towards women due to their supposed dependence on the church and priests. This was not sole prerogative of socialist men. It was to be found in the left at large, communist, radical, lay, anti-clerical forces, etc. And it is, of course, an important point, deserving a closer and less prejudiced scrutiny than it has usually been given. Where the communists are concerned, for instance, is known that Togliatti personally had to chastise at official party meetings those who blame women for the poor electoral results of 1946. On this point, the attitude of the socialist leadership clearly differed because there was no effort spent in contesting that reaction at the party's grassroots. Now, another issue that I briefly examine in this paper, and I'm not going to read, is the issue of continuity. This is a very important historical issue. The continuity between genealogies of women, of socialist women of the older generation, the newer generation, at the basis of society, in a sense, what was left of the many organized groups still active in 1921 after the Congress of Livorno and throughout the interwar years. We have really very little, though recently, More local research has brought up a considerable amount of information that, however, would need, again, historical conceptualizations to be used and to be constructed into an history. Now, I tried about this to discover, in a sense, which women decided that they were going to be active in the Socialist Party, they were going to be politically active as socialists in immediate post-war. And I sort of try sort of interview a number of women that have been leaders of the mass politics and that I also happen to know. And of course, I am offering this very condensed results of this. Of course, in the center and the north, there was a family working class socialist tradition that had been left there. And where the 1943-45 resistance was a reality among the people, young women who participated were not usually affiliated with any party. The choice came later and at the end of the war, and it was usually, to a great extent, between the Socialist Party and the Communist Party. Now, family tradition had an influence, but of course so did personal experience. There is another factor, which is anthropologically very interesting and understandable, and that is to say that there was often a male influence, a brother, a boyfriend, a professor, and this male influence is especially to be found in a middle-class context. And again, I'm explaining briefly why, and this is also, I think, an anthropological feature, very significant because it tells us things about what was happening in the middle class where women were concerned in the interwar years. Now, one last thing about the South. Many women that were then leader or organizer, for instance, Rosetta Longo, that I will mention later on, Anna Matera, who was responsible of the Women's Bureau in the Socialist Party for many meaningful years, came from the South and came from the South or the center, like that, and came from the activities in the Teachers' Union, which also, as I mentioned yesterday, had a long pre-fascist socialist tradition, and it was revived until 44 and 45. Now, some general points to be considered where socialist women in the post-war are concerned. First, the approach by these women appears less rigid, much more unstructured as compared to communist women. In the July 1944 issue, La Donna Socialista, the stress was on the need for women to involve themselves in politics. They insisted very much on this. This was a common trait to all women at that time in politics. Now, in the following months, for instance, the newly reconstituted Centro Femminile Socialista started a new publication, Lettera alla Donna, to which Umberto Calosso contributed a column dealing humorously with housework as part of a campaign driving to the reshuffling of social roles. He was a co-editor. Later he was replaced by Lina Merlin, and that was a sign, actually, that he fell into disgrace, as Paola Gagliotti points out, because he was constantly referring to the Scandinavian model of family relationships and for introducing issues such as divorce and free love into the political debate. Now, some of the issues which belonged, in fact, in a cultural continuity with the socialist tradition, first of all, divorce, were in sharp contrast with the policy of unity of the left as it shaped up in the years 45-48. For instance, Anna Franchi, who was this old feminist that in 1904 published a book, Viva il Divorzio, republished a book in 1946 in which she was telling the women, socialist women of the new generation, about the old vindication, etc. These are all signal that all these issues were present in the debate among socialist women. Again, in reviewing the index, for instance, of articles in the socialist periodicals in the years 46, 47, we find a number of articles, many of them by Bianca Bianchi, who Lina Merlin had been elected to the constituency, and in which it's taken up, the issue of divorce and the family are taken up as relevant, as important in the discussion of the new constitution. Now, in other words, this climate in which options appear still open seems to have been rather well exploited by socialist women. Then, of course, the year 1947, for all the things that we know already, marked the end of this experimentation. Now, a second point is the continuous resurfacing among socialist women of the issue of a separate organization for women within the party. That sort of went parallel to the problem as whether one had to participate into the UDI or not. But contrary to what may be perhaps the perspective, from retrospectively, in a sense, this wasn't so much whether they had to, not at that moment, for a number of reasons, whether they had to be in a organization which was, in a sense, prevailingly communist or especially supported by the Communist Party. The point was, at that time, mostly whether women had to do the work on women's issues. And the debate was actually common to all women in the left. Both socialist and communist women were aware of the patronizing attitude of the men in their parties. And with few exceptions, leaders and militants alike looked at women as to a subordinate component whose main task was to gain for the parties the consensus of women at large. Especially the intermediate party cadre made no mystery of that. The goal was to pull women away from the priests and, of course, from the Christian Democrats at the poll. And they stopped short of saying that general politics, as it was called, was none of women's business. Now, because all women in the left have been aware of this under-evaluation and estrangement, that they were reluctant to go into the separate organization. And some women, notably, for instance, where the communists are concerned, Teresa Noce is a case in point, because she talks at length about this in her memoirs, were decidedly against. They would maintain that women had to involve themselves in a party politics on an equal footing with men and should refuse to be confined to dealing with women's issues. Those who oppose this view would point out that unless women work together to bring women's issues up, they would never surface in the party strategies, which of course proved true over and over again. Okay, now the last point about this, the factional struggles. Now, the misgivings about going to separate party work, in a sense, was also made more acute in the case of socialist women by the existence of factional struggles. I'm quoting here the many quotes I would give, but that I could, in a sense, offer. But I'm quoting Elena Caporaso in 1954 summarized the developments from the 1947 Saragat secession, and she says, our best sisters who had spent their energies in factional struggles, she means to contain damages of the split, were unwillingly bending to devote their activities to women's issues. They wrongly regarded that task as a diminution of their status in the party, not realizing that it is in fact a difficult, delicate, and important task. Now, women were aware of the fact that internal factional struggles worked out as a double filter, let's put it that way, okay, to make it quick. Now, the situation never really changed all throughout the history of the Socialist Party, as we know. Though the years between 54 and 55 and the very early 60s marked, I think, a considerable improvement, and in fact, those are the years that we will see socialist women were really going out, outreaching in society. Now, but it's so true that this was a constant problem that, for instance, in 1974, Maria Magnani Noia, the Congress that was trying to sort of striking a balance where socialist women were concerned from 1924 to 74, pointed out how history proved that the most fruitful periods for socialist women had always coincided with times when internal differences had fueled political debate without degenerating into personal, obnoxious factionalism. Again, I'm going to skip the part that concerns the numbers of women in the party from the very few restricted data that I had available, the membership of socialist women, from what I know, also from interviews, but I don't have data for this, always more or less represented about between 12 and 14% of the total membership. But when you look at the governing bodies of the party, then you fall to percentages between 1 to 2%. And I would, since we have, and I know that some work, in fact, is being done. We have our friends at the Fondazione Nenni. I would encourage them to reconstruct this presence of women in the party, because this, socialist women in the party, because this is an important, this is not all that we need for the history of socialist, of women in the socialist movement, but of course, it's a very important basis. Now, the focus now, the second part of this paper, will be socialist women's participation in and contribution to mass sexual politics and post-war Italian society. Now, this would involve, again, looking at a much wider spectrum of things, all the mass organizations, the unions, etc. I can't do that. We have also almost no history reconstructed, for all I know of this. I will focus on UDI, not only because, of course, more is available, because I know it better, but also because, of course, UDI occupied a center stage in the emancipation process of Italian women from 1944-45 to 1970s, with all the mistakes of the early period, etc. But that was where the emancipation struggle was, in a sense, the strategic center. Now, chronologically, I will limit myself to the decade of the 50s, coming up to the early 60s. The history, in a sense, of UDI, is birth, existence, and survival throughout the vicissitudes of the left, have as their source, in a sense, the difficulties which women in the left have always encountered in their own parties. The organization, in fact, the UDI, proved to be the casa comune, sort of home to share to all those women in the left, socialists, communists, and more at large, who were convinced of the existence of a gender issue and were willing to commit their work and energies to it. And in spite, as we will see, and we won't see all of it, but in spite of all the strains of the relationship that derive from the strains between the party of the left, there was an intense solidarity. And even as I will show, in a sense, the debate that was stirred by the outside events, so to speak, was in fact carried on with a common intent. And this is a very important thing. It should never be forgotten, in a sense, when you look at the history of UDI in particular. Now, I would divide these years in two periods, say, from the immediate aftermath of the war to 1953-54, and then, which is the first, I call the fall of the outer walls of the Cold War, and from 54-55 to 1959. Now, in the first period, the Socialist Party focused on regaining internal unity after the 1947 secession. And among the central group of young militants, Elena Caporaso became the head of the Women's Bureau at the Socialist Congress following the 1947 secession, while where UDI was concerned, the president in October, the second in October 1947, at the second UDI Congress, the president was the communist Maria Maddalena Rossi, and the Secretary General was the socialist Rosetta Lungo. Now, in the executive committee of the UDI at the time were all the socialist women who, in the course of the following years, would be elected to parliament or to significant party offices for a small number as they were elected. But anyway, Giuliana Nenni, Elena Caporaso, Tullia Carrettoni, Marisa Passiglia, Anna Matera, many other militant leaders at the local level. There is no record of a socialist dissent when in January 1948 the Executive Committee of UDI decided UDI participation in the Popular Front. And in that Women's Alliance, as it was called, that turned out to be even organizationally a tremendous pasticcio. No? The only dissenting opinion came from the representative of the LEI, the Action Party, which was who was Maria Calogero at the time, that subsequently withdrew from the organization. Now, in June 1948, was Rosetta Longo's task as Secretary General to read at the national meeting the report where UDI acknowledged the burning defeat suffered as part of the Women's Alliance of the Front and presented its agenda in the new difficult Cold War scenario. Now, where the leftists, which at that moment in the Socialist Party included the so-called leftists, Nenni, Morandi, Pertini, and Basso, gained the majority and the Unity of Action Pact with the PCI was confirmed, Elena Caporaso was renamed at the end of the Women's Bureau, which she had left following the Fronte defeat. It should be explained, one thing, that the majority of young leaders, men and women alike, were in fact followers of Morandi, whose personality, because of his intelligence, his charisma, his dedication, etc., held always a particular fascination to young militants. Now, Morandi invested considerable energies in the creation of a group of women leaders in the party, stressing the importance for socialist women to work close with communist women in the mass organization. Of course, his view on mass struggles was functional to the building of the party, and that defined, to his eyes, UDI's role. Morandi's attitude was peculiar to that effect to many other communist leaders of the time, notably Luigi Longo. Morandi's idea, which we find outlined in a speech, for instance, in October 1950 at the National Conference of Socialist Women, called for maximum involvement of socialist women in UDI so that the association may respond to the widely diversified needs of women in society. Now, this line that in fact did away with any overall conceptualization of the existence of a woman's question as such, brought about the dispersion or dissolution of UDI into a number of diversified groups, which in fact proved on no organizational consistency beyond the specific mobilization. So, in the years 1950 and 51, there was a growing awareness on the part of many socialist and communist women in UDI that course was proving disastrous. And the association had lost, in fact, its specific profiles. Now the campaign, the mobilizing efforts were spent in solidarity with factory women and men, and also in the so-called peace campaigns. Now, a fresh, more significant issue was the campaign to force the mayors, and notably the Christian Democratic mayors, to enlist women as jurors, which they refused to do in violation of Article 51 of the Constitution. This was the first step toward the abolition of discrimination in public offices and careers that finally was issued in 1963. Now, a political debate opened up from within socialist and communist women in the UDI, and among communist women, the undisputed leader since 1947, during the real Cold War years, was Maria Maddalena Rossi. Under her leadership, the association's policy had closely followed the lead of the Fédération Démocratique des Femmes, dominated by Moscow. To confront Maria Maddalena Rossi was now another communist, Nilde Iotti, who, and I leave to you in a speech in 1953, UDI Congress, in a sense, paved the ground for introducing an element of a specific action by UDI. Now, the newly formed secretariat included two key figures to signal that there was a surfacing of an internal opposition, the communist Nilde Iotti and the socialist Giuliana Nenni. And meanwhile, a significant evolution was also taking place in the political scenario, connected to the Swindle Law, in a sense, and which offered a way to escape political isolation, and in the Socialist Party was Pietro Nenni who grabbed the moment. Now, there was also an initial detente, an international scenario due to Stalin's death, the end of the Korean War, etc., and these were all, of course, the reasons that, to Nenni's eyes, had justified, as we know, the unity of action with the communists. So the elections of June 1953 were a success for the left, and specifically, I mean, a limited success, but anyway, success for the left, and specifically for the socialists in the left. And now, Elena Caporaso, Anna Matera, Maria Vittoria Mezzo, Giuliana Nenni were elected to parliament. Was a brilliant group, already committed to following a new course in mass politics concerning women. And to the Senate was elected Angela Merlin, who introduced two proposals of law. One intended to make it illegal to fire women when they married, which was an established routine at the time, and a proposal for the abolition of the law regulating prostitution, which is an old feminist battle fought and lost in Italy as well in other European countries. Now, in the years 1954-56, those women who maintained that women emancipatory struggle was a specific component, as the formula then went, of the struggle to build a socialist society, progressively gained ground, but where the women in the Socialist Party to come out in the open first, thus playing a role of avant-garde. Pietro Nenni was personally supportive of the significance of ODI and encouraged socialist women to work in it, to launch it into the new courts, etc. And at the 1954, at the National Conference of Socialist Women, in his conclusion, he reminded the socialists that the party is not all, it is only the means. Now, this is quite a difference with Morandi's conception. The testing ground is outside the party, in the mass organization. The women in our country have created a great and original mass organization, which is the Union of Italian Women. Now, when, following the Congress of Turin, Morandi's death after the summer of 1955, Nenni's leadership grew stronger in the party. This was also reflected. This reflected on the Women's Bureau. Anna Matera replaced Elena Caporaso. At the time had been too closely identified with Morandi line. Matera had been a leader of the socialist women groups in the South since 1944. She had been active in the Teachers Association and recently elected to parliament in one of the Apulia districts. Now, having no less energy than Elena Caporaso and acting in a climate conducive to bringing into the open disagreement with the communists, which had been for so long dealt away from the public eyes, Matera led socialist women throughout years, when the Socialist Party on the whole displayed considerable political dynamism. The Socialist Party was at the time at the center of Italian political life. It looked as if the Socialist Party could feel the hopes of those that were frustrated by the nature of political and social reconstruction since 1945, and were also frustrated by the lack of what they regarded as a viable opposition to the Christian democracy. Now, of course, the turning point was to be that the Socialist Party would progressively pull away from the Communist Party by developing its own strategic and policy choices. And the opportunity, as we know, was offered by the events of 1956, especially by the Hungarian crisis. Now, where socialist women were concerned, the new dynamic courts had developed with some anticipation with respect to this event. And following the Turin Congress, an effort was made to address those issues which were at the time identified as mentalità e costume, which today we will call gender relations and sexual politics. And okay, now this covers, in fact, a period that goes from 55 to 56, and which also brought, in a sense, as I said, the socialist women to raise, also with the help of some single personality, male personality in the Socialist Party, but not with the following of the entire Socialist Party, a number of important issues in the field of divorce, family laws, birth control, etc. Now, okay, now, of course, that stirred dynamic also internally to the UDI, and also brought a first result as far as the leadership of the association, where Marisa Rodano, which was close to Nilde Iotti, first replaced Maria Maddalena Rossi. But an important crucible was the radical criticism that the Executive Committee of UDI expressed in a meeting in late June 1956. Now, the meeting came only a week after the full disclosure by Togliatti of the Khrushchev report. And at the meeting, Giuliana Nenni and Elena Caporaso were especially outspoken, pointing out how UDI, in a sense, had been abandoning the program which was there in 1945, had been transposing in feminine terms the agenda of the left. And then they also branded as a mistake the fact of not having supported particular special proposal of law in the field of family, etc. Now, where UDI was concerned, 56 was a point of no return, and the critical process which took off brought first a drastic alignment of the leadership at the 1959 Congress, and set off a pattern of internal political debate at times confrontation between the socialist and the communist components, which in fact proved to be for the next several years a factor of strength and of dynamism for the organization. Now, I'm also mentioning the activities of socialist women specifically in this period, which socialist women not only actively campaigned about them, but eventually also managed to put them in a political platform, the electoral platform of the party in 1958. Also, socialist women were the ones that came out, let's say, more openly, and first and more openly than the communist women in a, let's say, engage in a debate on the emancipatory struggle as a factor of change, which at the time was more of a taboo that you might now think. Now, I'm trying to wrap up. Now, there was also an effort, in a sense, to recover the historical memory. This is another point, and now probably the importance of which might probably escape at this particular time, but the historical memory of Italian women, meaning whatever had happened before fascism, was not at all, at the time, an obvious legacy of our historical memory. Now, I can speak for myself, too. So it was only in those years, and again, the first step, for instance, in this, I'm giving an example of this 1956 pamphlet, was done by socialist women, which, of course, published this thing, which focused especially on the figure of Anna Kolyshov. Now, to conclude, I believe the socialist women deserve full credit for having played a significant role at the time that some regard as having been perhaps one of the best seasons of socialist culture in Italy. These years were also, to come back to this main focus of this part of the paper, some of the best in the history of UDI and of women politics, to be matched only by the 1970s. By 1963, UDI, which had become a strategic think tank, an operational center, in a sense, for the emancipation struggle in Italy since the second half of the previous decade, could claim an impressive record of results: equal pay, laws forbidding firing of women on the cause of marriage, and abolishing all discrimination in matter of public office and careers, and also a whole group of very significant issues concerning provisions and services related to women's work, such a network of childcare, etc., had been turned into specific vindications and made into proposals of law, though they were approved much later. The conclusion of this paper touches on the 1964 Congress, which in a sense represented really the peak on one hand, but also lost opportunity on the other. There were very interesting conceptualization in the documents that prepared their Congress, meaning that they signal the awareness of Italian women, of thousands and thousands of Italian women, which made up this very consistent leadership, that changes were underway, and that a new phase was beginning, and that women represented an anthropological and cultural crucible, which, however, was not at all received by the strategy of the left or Italian society as such. And in a sense, however, where women were concerned, that made up for that sort of obviousness of which I talked before that surrounded the achievement of suffrage and the historical, let's say, goal of suffrage in 1945. I'm also touching this on the two issues which were at the core of the discussion in the 1964 Congress, of which one was also another issue in which, in a sense, women proved to be ahead, and that was the withdrawal from the FDIF, which had been which was ratified by the Congress, but had been made public in 1963 when the UDI delegation made the headlines because they raised up in protest and they left the hall at the Moscow conference against the undemocratic procedure which were followed by Soviet women in running the meeting. However, as I said, this Congress also marked a lost opportunity, in a climate which was probably overall, the center-left, lost opportunity. It meant that socialist women, well, the split of that formed the PSUP hit close at the heart of the socialist component of UDI. So the socialist women Because of that, because of the situation was becoming difficult between the two parties of the left, with one party in government and the other out, etc., withdrew in a sense that they passed a resolution by which militancy or membership was individual choice, but that meant that the Socialist Party as such was no longer supportive of UDI. Now, and women, socialist women in a sense, communist women, this marked a long period of years in which they withdraw within the compound of their respective parties. And not on the base, they did not work actively on the basis of mass politics. And the competitive climate that resulted, UDI struggled to achieve a sort of mediating role which seriously curbed its capacity to send its messages out to the mass of women. So indeed, on the whole, the women movement was weakened by this development, and an opportunity was lost. When women who made up the emancipation movement in Italy, women who were smart, committed, more aware of changes taking place at the roots of society than men in their parties at the time, failed to be on top of party politics and failed to capitalize on that initial realization of the autonomous character of the gender issue, and yesterday's vocabulary, the woman's question, which had been slowly and painfully accruing in the course of the previous decade. Okay. You're going to whip me, huh?
Thank you, Margherita, for an excellent paper. I would say groundbreaking. The comment was supposed to have been read by Simona Colarizi, who was unable to come to this symposium. But she did send a comment, and that comment will be read by Professor John Davis, who we are very lucky to have. He has recently been appointed to the Emiliano Noether Chair. Can you hear me? Has recently been appointed to the Emiliano Noether Chair of Modern Italian History at the University of Connecticut. Professor Davis.
Spencer, thank you very much for the generous invitation to take part in this, I think, extremely interesting and important conference, and my congratulations too on overcoming a whole series of obstacles, not least of which being two of the most determined Gabbiani that I've ever come across, but our professional Scaccia Gabbiani seem to have, for the moment anyway, done their job. Now, the tie that went with the invitation was to sing for Professor Colarizi's supper. But since we have a very tight schedule, and I think there is a feeling that we should make more space for discussion, I have suggested to Spencer Di Scala, and with your permission, rather than read the full text of Simona Colarizi's paper, I would just like briefly to draw attention to those parts of it which are addressed most directly to this session now. So this will be in the way of a resume. This is not intended as any reflection on the importance of Professor Colarizi's paper, but simply an attempt to save a little time. She argues that the reconversion of the mass bases of fascism into new democratic channels was the main problem facing the anti-fascists after the 25th of July 1943. The only political powers capable of ushering the masses into the new democratic state were the Socialists and the Catholics. They had already been structured as modern parties in the liberal political system, and both had deep roots excuse me, in the two main subcultures in Italy, Catholic and Socialist. She argues that one of the most glaring anomalies of the Italian state was, of course, the absence of a modern middle-class party, The Liberal Party, locked into a 19th century model of individual representation, had been the expression of the ruling class and the elites in power. It did not constitute, she argues, a suitable channel for the upwardly mobile middle classes who were aware of this lack of representation compared to the upper bourgeoisie and also compared to the working classes and the rural world. And it was this that led them, she argues, to support Mussolini's newly created movement. So the dictatorial vocation of fascism then, I spoke too soon, then put a violent end to the first cycle of politicization of the Italian masses. And behind the facade of permanent political mobilization, fascism gradually managed to shatter the networks of civil society in Italy, so that when the regime fell, the Italians had to find their identity as citizens again. And this time, the recovery of political rights, which had been denied for 20 years, also involved the world of women who had previously been excluded from political life. It is symptomatic, Professor Colarizi argues, of the historical turning point marked by the resistance, that not one voice was raised amongst the anti-fascist forces against this step, which it was generally agreed had been postponed for too long. The democracy which the anti-fascists were founding sought to make a clean break with the fascist and pre-fascist past. But above all, it had to be a democracy of the masses, a full expression, finally, of the will of the entire population, male and female, which symbolically and radically renewed the social contract. The first proof of the democratic maturity of the new anti-fascist political class, paid for by 20 years of dictatorship, a harsh civil war, and national liberation, was this recognition of a right once only claimed by the leftist minority, but now also acknowledged by the more moderate elements. But the apparent facility, Professor Colarizi argues, with which women were being granted their political rights, pushed to the background the problems which centuries of inequality had produced. The parties were not pursuing the main goal of gaining women's votes, and there were no specific themes involving the world of women. Women were not considered by the parties for their own female specific. They were only paid any attention as minority citizens, that is, on a lower ranking than men in the process of politicization. The only reference parameter, she argues, for the political recruitment of women was the fact that they belonged to a specific sector of society and were classified essentially through economic criteria. What was relevant was their place in the family, in a preordained social economic sphere, or at the most, for the minority of women who form part of the world of labor, their status as workers. The only superstructural element that was considered with any greater attention was that of religious faith, which was more widespread amongst women, precisely, she argues, because of their ignorance and their educational inferiority, in quotation marks. This was a general attitude in the political world of the time amongst both moderates and progressives. Albeit the left appeared more sensitive than the right to the women's issue, in my opinion, Professor Colarizi argues, these were preoccupations, with certain exceptions, of an entirely political character. The competition of the Catholic Party, which mainly relied on the Church to find supporters in Italy in the matter of women's votes, was feared. And even in the case of proletarian families, that is to say, supporters of the socialist movement or militants in the socialist movement, the priest's authority often prevailed over that of the father, the husband or brother, who, it was taken for granted, imposed the choice of vote on their women. On the other hand, she argues, the structural elements in such a rigidly class-bound society, such as Italy was in 1945, provides the real key for reading the entire process of the re-aggregation of the masses into political parties after fascism. And in this process of civil and political reform, the anti-fascist parties were all committed to seeking the traditional mass bases and new votes which would give them the necessary weight to ensure the leadership of the constituent Italian political system. Catholics were heirs of the old pre-fascist Italian People's Party with their interclass emphasis and their moderate political programs. They put themselves forward as a pole of reference, political pole of reference for the middle, lower, rural and urban classes, although they also aimed at winning support amongst the capitalist bourgeoisie and those sections of the middle classes who no longer had a political allegiance after the fall of fascism. The Socialist Party, on the other hand, she claims, looked to the workers and the peasants, to the progressive urban classes that have been brought to the forefront by the growth of capitalism in the major industrial cities of northern Italy, and which were the sectors of society that had always represented the breeding ground for socialism in Italy. However, the Socialist Party had now to face the fierce competition of the Communist Party, which had been born in 1921 as a revolutionary avant-garde party, and was now changing into a party of mass integration, challenging the socialists in those same areas where the socialist subculture had spread. And I think that the remainder of Professor Colarizi's paper is then concerned essentially to examine the constraints within which the Socialist Party sought to re-establish itself, constraints posed on one hand by the presence of the PC, and she goes on in the final section of her paper to examine more closely the factors that led to the rift between Saragat and Neni. But as I said at the start, the paper has been circulated, and those of you who want to read it in Professor Colarizi's own words will have the time to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. The next paper is by Luciano Pellicani, called Socialists and Communists. Unfortunately, Professor Pellicani is ill with the flu and could not make it this morning. He is in Boston, but unfortunately it's been a few days that he's been ill. He is the editor of Mondo Operaio, the socialist review, and he has done a number of books, especially the classic I rivoluzionari di professione, as well as numerous other books. But we have here to read his paper Adriana Landolfi, who is with Italian television in the Scuola ed Educazione department, and she is also an author, has written on, for example, latest book on women in the New World. Adriana Landolfi.
Buongiorno, vi leggerò questa relazione di Luciano Pellicani premettendo un piccolo detto italiano: ambasciator non porta pena. Allora, Comunisti e socialisti di Luciano Pellicani. Nel secondo dopoguerra, in tutta l'Europa occidentale, i partiti socialisti, dopo essersi allontanati dalla loro originaria ispirazione rivoluzionaria e aver adottato più o meno esplicitamente una filosofia riformista e una strategia fabiana, sono diventati il polo di aggregazione delle forze progressiste. In aggiunta, i partiti socialisti sono riusciti a compiere esperimenti di governo che hanno potentemente inciso sulla particolare configurazione che la democrazia rappresentativa ha assunto nell'Europa occidentale. È accaduto che, proprio grazie a tali esperimenti di governo, è stato allargato il perimetro borghese dello Stato liberale attraverso l'istituzionalizzazione del welfare state. I diritti di cittadinanza civili, politici e sociali sono stati universalizzati e gli esclusi positivamente integrati nelle strutture della moderna società industriale. In breve, i partiti dell'Internazionale Socialista hanno posto fine all'età dell'laissez-faire, istituzionalizzando quello che è stato battezzato il compromesso socialdemocratico fra Stato e mercato. C'è però un'eccezione: essa è costituita dal Partito Socialista Italiano, il quale è rimasto un partito minore della sinistra, impossibilitato per le sue ridotte dimensioni elettorali ad assumere la leadership del polo progressista e a trasformarlo in un blocco storico capace di sfidare con successo il polo conservatore. Il fenomeno risulta ancor più singolare se si tiene presente che in Italia la sinistra ha avuto un peso politico e culturale tutt'altro che secondario, ma lo ha avuto sotto l'egemonia del Partito Comunista, nei confronti del quale il Partito Socialista si è venuto a trovare in una condizione di permanente inferiorità. L'analisi dei rapporti fra socialisti e comunisti è quindi essenziale per intendere le ragioni che hanno fatto della Repubblica un sistema politico sui generis. Essa infatti è stata l'unica democrazia occidentale che non ha conosciuto un governo delle sinistre, e non lo ha conosciuto proprio perché il polo progressista è stato egemonizzato dal PC, vale a dire da un partito marx-leninista che rivendicava con orgoglio un legame di ferro con l'Unione Sovietica e che considerava la dittatura di piano una forma superiore di organizzazione sociale. Data la sua scelta di campo, il fine che il PC perseguiva non era una semplice alternanza di governo, bensì un'alternativa di sistema. Si capisce agevolmente allora perché la democrazia italiana è stata regolata dalla cosiddetta Conventio ad excludendum, un patto fra i partiti filo-occidentali per tenere fuori dalla stanza dei bottoni il PC, nel quale essi vedevano una forza antisistema che, qualora avesse prevalso, avrebbe portato l'Italia fuori del campo occidentale. Tutto ciò ha reso anomalo il funzionamento della democrazia italiana, che è stata per oltre 40 anni un tipico esempio di quel particolare sistema politico che Giovanni Sartori ha battezzato pluralismo, ideologicamente polarizzato. In esso il PSI è venuto a trovarsi in una morsa: o diventare un partito di complemento della strategia comunista oppure un partito di collaborazione del blocco moderato. Due soluzioni ugualmente ripugnanti e comunque tali da costringere i socialisti a svolgere un ruolo in aperto contrasto con ciò che essi rappresentavano o aspiravano a rappresentare. Di qui il fatto che il PSI è stato un'anomalia nell'anomalia. La prima ragione di questa anomalia va cercata nel PC, che è stato non solo il più forte partito comunista del mondo occidentale, ma anche il più aperto, il più duttile, il più vicino per la sua strategia e la sua cultura politica alla socialdemocrazia europea. Vero è che il PC ha sempre rivendicato con orgoglio la sua diversità, il suo essere un partito inassimilabile, per la sua organizzazione interna, il centralismo democratico, e per i suoi fini di lungo periodo, la fuoriuscita dal capitalismo, la costruzione di una democrazia di tipo nuovo, eccetera, agli altri partiti, ma contemporaneamente ha saputo offrire l'immagine di un energico tribuno della plebe che operava per lo sviluppo della democrazia, non già per il suo affossamento. Sotto la leadership di Palmiro Togliatti ha miscelato sapientemente gli ingredienti tipici della tradizione rivoluzionaria con quelli della tradizione riformista, e lo ha fatto con tanta efficacia che nel 1976 Alberto Asorosa non esitò a proclamare come una verità indiscutibile che il suo partito poteva legittimamente considerarsi come l'erede di Lenin e di Turati. Dal canto suo, Franco Rodano elaborò una sottile interpretazione dei quaderni del carcere, che faceva di Gramsci il teorico di un comunismo diverso, capace di coniugare il meglio della tradizione democratica occidentale con il nucleo vitale del bolscevismo e con i permanenti valori del cristianesimo. Il comunismo italiano, pertanto, poteva a buon diritto presentarsi, sempre secondo la versione rodaniana del gramscismo, come una sintesi di rango superiore e come un modello valido non solo per l'Italia ma anche per l'intera Europa. Oggi, dopo la bancarotta planetaria del comunismo, è a tutti chiari che la sintesi ideata da Togliatti e sviluppata dai suoi epigoni era un'ibridazione culturale dalla quale non poteva scaturire nulla di buono. Il comunismo non è qualcosa che possa essere miscelato con altri ingredienti. E con questo veniamo alla seconda ragione degli insuccessi e delle frustrazioni del PSI. Anche un fugace sguardo alla storia del socialismo italiano appare evidente che esso è sempre stato dominato da un dualismo ideologico che non ammetteva né mediazioni né compromessi. Nel suo seno sono convissuti, confliggendo permanentemente, il pathos del rifiuto dell'esistente in nome della società diversa e la tentazione di scendere a patti con il capitalismo, vale a dire l'anima rivoluzionaria e l'anima riformista. Neanche quando nel 1921 i rivoluzionari decisero di costituire, all'insegna dello slogan "Fare come in Russia", la sezione italiana dell'Internazionale Comunista, le viscere morali del PSI cessarono di essere lacerate, tant'è che appena un anno dopo si verificò una seconda scissione. Il risultato fu che il movimento operaio italiano si scompose in 3 formazioni partitiche, proprio nello stesso momento in cui la democrazia liberale vacillava sotto i colpi dell'offensiva fascista. Conseguenza: non si ebbe la rivoluzione proletaria auspicata sia dai comunisti che dai massimalisti, bensì la vittoria della controrivoluzione preventiva. La lotta contro il fascismo portò alla riunificazione delle 2 componenti del socialismo italiano, quella massimalista e quella riformista, e portò altresì al patto di unità d'azione fra socialisti e comunisti. Ma non appena la guerra si concluse, riemerse di bel nuovo il dualismo ideologico di cui si diceva e con esso il problema dei rapporti con i comunisti, laddove Giuseppe Saragat riteneva che il comunismo rappresentava un corpo estraneo alla tradizione genuinamente socialista e una minaccia per la libertà faticosamente riconquistata. Pietro Nenni era dominato dalla illusione che fosse possibile ricomporre l'unità del movimento operaio europeo costruendo un ponte fra la sinistra occidentale e la sinistra dell'Est. Il risultato di queste inconciliabili interpretazioni della natura del comunismo fu la scissione di Palazzo Barberini, le cui conseguenze furono così catastrofiche da indurre più di uno studioso a parlare di autoaffondamento del socialismo italiano. Nacquero infatti 2 formazioni partitiche, il PSI e il PSLI, furiosamente ostili l'uno all'altra ed entrambe impossibilitate a svolgere un ruolo politico autonomo. Il PSLI ben presto si trasformò in una modesta componente del blocco moderato, incapace persino di elaborare una cultura politica autenticamente socialdemocratica. Quanto al PSI, esso non fu mai in grado di svolgere l'ambiziosissimo ruolo vagheggiato da Nenni. La sua ideologia, peraltro, non differiva in nulla dalla versione leninista del marxismo. In aggiunta, il gruppo dirigente del partito si sentiva in dovere di inneggiare alla patria del socialismo